Well, it's very interesting, Avantika, that over the last now close to 3 decades, we've seen India move from no one having a mobile phone to nearly 1 billion people having mobile phones, and out of them, 70% having a smartphone. We've moved over the last 3 decades into people not having access to a bank account to now nearly 1 billion people having access to a bank account. And effectively, over the last close to 3 decades, we've seen 1 billion biometrics getting registered. So what we call the JAM Trinity in India, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, Mobile, has truly become the foundational platform for the digitization of India. And we at Spice Money, earlier as Spice Telecom, have seen this revolution unfold over the last 25 years, and it's been fascinating. So effectively, since 2014, there's been this drive to put a bank account into the hands of every citizen. Especially during the last 5 years, what we saw is that there was a lot of push on subsidies going into rural India. COVID actually accelerated that because there was a lot of migration from urban to rural. And people who were going back to villages in India, especially during COVID, we realized that they needed new sources of income, and the government also wanted to provide support. But there weren't enough bank branches or ATM machines where you lived. And so what we did was, the opportunity that we saw was that there's a problem and there's a solution. And the problem was people have a bank account, but there's no bank branch or ATM machine where they live. But there's a small merchant who has a smartphone and internet connectivity. So we gave them a small biometric machine, and we said any consumer who's got his biometric registered, and I said 1 billion of them have got their registered and it's seeded into their bank account, can actually function like a bank branch in the village. And so in a matter of 3 years, we managed to go from very few merchants to nearly 1.3 million merchants in 250,000 villages who are now using our digital platform to deliver formal financial services to nearly 22 million customers a month in rural India. It's a big point. And in fact, the government, along with the financial institutions, have put funds aside to run financial literacy camps in rural India. There's a lot of non-government organizations who work for not-for-profit but are committed to this space of financial literacy. So I think for us as a for-profit enterprise, focusing in semi-urban and rural India, but really promoting growth of financial services, financial literacy is a big point. So what we do is the 1.3 million merchants who effectively are functioning like digital bank branches in their communities, we try and provide them the necessary tools and education so that they in turn can educate the consumers coming to them. So we work a lot with our partners, the banks and financial institutions whose products we distribute through our digital platform, to be able to educate the merchants who are on our platform in order for them to in turn educate the consumer. So we run constantly a lot of physical and digital programs, face-to-face as well as online, to drive a lot of awareness around formal financial products. So that's financial and digital literacy are two big areas of focus, because as you go to rural India, you have to enable both at scale. Well, one, I definitely want them to see new India in making. I think India has a huge role to play in the economic development of the world. I would love them to see that the new India that's building is not just in the big towns and cities that many of them may be visiting, but also in the villages of India. So I'm hoping for them to see the new India evolve in the villages of India as well. The second one is that how India is going digital and how it's taking a step ahead of many other parts of the world in terms of using technology to drive penetration of basic services deep into India. And I think really, the third takeaway is really I want them to come and participate in the revolution that's happening in India, and really contribute to there's a lot of innovation that's happening on the ground, and I think being part of that is something that I'm looking forward to.